What's up, Maroons? Today we're going to go over stretching and mobility stuff that we did throughout the season. So unlike when we would be doing it during the season, we aren't probably going to have a little bit more time to go through every single stretch, or most of the stretches anyway. But on any given day we wouldn't normally be able to do all of these. So pick and choose the ones that you think you need the most. You will need a band for some of the things. As I keep telling you with the bands, make sure that you're inspecting it regularly, looking for signs of wear. Again, a little unraveling like that's okay because it is one continuous loop. However, if you're seeing cuts, if you're seeing worn patches, if this is starting to get dry and brittle and flaking apart, then that's the sign that this is starting to get worn. Again, don't leave this in the sun. Keep it in something temperature controlled, probably inside the house is best. You don't want to leave it in the garage or in a car trunk or in your back seat, because otherwise this band's going to wear really quickly. So when we secure the band, you're going to need, you might need a couple things. Just make sure that whatever it is you're using as an anchor is not going to move on you. It could be really dangerous. It can be like a really powerful slingshot if you're not careful. A couple things I might be using, I'll probably be using a little clip like this. You can get this at any department store. Again, like I said before, some of those little edges there on the clasp where it comes together is a little sharp, so you want to be careful you're not injuring the band. You could also use a carabiner that you get at a climbing store. That gets rid of most of the sharp edges, so you don't have to worry about that as much. And then I'm also going to be using, I'll be using this nylon runner. Again, it's just a loop of nylon, and I'll be using that to help secure some things too. Nylon runners are pretty cheap. Carabiners are pretty cheap too. This metal ring is like $2. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Okay, first up we're going to start with some dislocates with the band. You want to take a fairly wide grip on this. You can work your way in if you feel good. Just doing some dislocates here. We want to try and bring those scapula back together behind us as we do this. If our scapula is winging, this is going to be really hard on your shoulders, so we want to retract that scapula as we do this exercise. Okay, we'll do a few of those to feel good. Alright, next we're going to hold this above our head here. Okay, and good tight overhead position here. Alright, and then we're just going to turn our head to the left. Neutral, head right. Neutral. We're trying not to tilt as we turn, we're just turning. Disassociating the head from the shoulders here. Now up. Neutral, and down. Neutral. Turn left. Neutral, turn right. Neutral. If you're noticing that when you turn left, this happens, or if you're noticing when you turn left that this happens, that indicates that we're not really dissociating the neck with the shoulder movement. And so that's something we want to kind of work on. That could be a mobility issue, it could just be an attention issue, so pay attention to that. Okay. All right, do some arm circles. Reverse. Reverse. And reverse. Okay, now we're going to do that one that seems to mess a lot of people up. We're going to go one forward and one back, so we're here and together. Together. Forward and back. Forward and back. Okay, then we're going to go the other way. Forward and back. Together. Forward, back, together. Forward, back, together. Okay, shake those out. Shoulder stretch in front of you. You might have to shop around a little bit on this. In the words of Dick Hartzell, you might have to shop around on the stretch a little bit. So bring the arm a little lower as we pull across. Might bring it a little higher as we pull across. You should feel that in right through that delt. Other side. Shop around a little bit. Okay, now we're going to go behind the head here. We're going to stretch out this lat and tricep. This side. Next we're going to clasp those fingers behind our back. Extend those arms. Chest out. Okay? We call this skin the cat. And if you're really mobile, you could probably lean over and extend those arms even further. I'm not quite that mobile. Okay, head circles. Head neutral, turn left. Head neutral, turn right. Head neutral, tilt left. Head neutral, tilt right. Head neutral, head down. Head neutral, head up. Again, as we do that, the head movement, we don't want the shoulders rounding or extending the whole time. Okay, it's just head and neck. Okay, so if you're noticing that the rest of your body is moving, you want to be aware of that. Front stretch next. So this is kind of a interesting stretch. You're probably going to have a difficult time kind of feeling this, but we're going to hinge at the hips. What we're going to do is we're going to reach over with our right hand, and we're going to gently pull this shoulder into the leg. Okay, and we should feel that in right through the middle of our back. Okay, reach over, gently pull that shoulder, pull the shoulder towards the arm, keeping the rest of your back kind of steady. And that's a pretty good rhomboid stretch. Next we're going to do a mantle stretch. So you can do this on a fireplace mantle. You could also do this on stair banister. You could do it against a wall if you needed to as well. Sink that head between the arms, and then we're going to lean on the one, and lean into the other. Really extend this stretch, we can turn into it like this with our leg. And then the stretch really runs all the way down our side. Next we're going to do a doorway stretch. And I don't have a doorway out here, so I'm going to have to improvise. But basically, if you were working in a doorway, what you would do is you would wedge your forearms into the sides of the doors, and you would just kind of lean forward. And this would be a great stretch through your chest girdle. But since we don't have that, we're going to use this nylon runner. Okay, I'm going to use that to attach here. And then I'm going to use a clip. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to string this. I could probably get by with just the nylon runner on this. I hadn't really thought of it that way, but okay. So we're here. And we're just going to stretch like this. I hope I'm on camera here. All right, so just like this. And if I can reposition my arms, that's great. Probably a little higher anchor point would be best, but this is a good stretch too. Okay, and that's the doorway stretch. One stretch I forgot to show you earlier is a really pretty good stretch for this whole front of the neck area and also into your traps. So I'm going to show you this this stretch. It's a pretty good one. You have to be really kind of gentle with it. If you're really pulling and yanking and moving too abruptly, it could probably hurt you. So be really careful with this particular stretch. What we're going to do is we're going to start with our arm behind our back, and we're going to pull that in the opposite direction. And as we pull this this arm in this direction, I'm going to turn my head and tilt it upward. Okay? So I'm going to show you what that looks like from the back. So I'm going to move my arm over here. I'm going to pull it in this direction gently, and then I'm going to turn and tilt. So on the other side, pull this arm over, okay, and then I'm going to tilt, and then I'm going to extend. I don't know what's going on there. All right. Okay, so you should feel that all through here. It should feel really pretty good in through that neck and trap tie in. Now we're going to move into some lower body stuff. So we're going to start with some hip circles. Reverse. Reverse. And reverse. Okay, now we're going to do a quad and hip flexor stretch. Right here. Quad and hip flexor. So again, this shouldn't be a knee. It shouldn't be putting a lot of stress on your knee. We want to move that knee backward so that we're feeling that into the quad and the hip flexor. Okay, to the side. Okay, now we're going to do a hamstring stretch standing. So we're just going to fold the hips. You want to bend those knees slightly. You should feel this in through the hips and the glutes. Okay, now we're going to step over with our left over right. We're going to fold at the hips, kicking that hip out a little bit to the right. Okay, now we're going to kick the right over the left. Hips go back and a little bit to the left. We're going to do straddle stretch. To the middle. To the right. To the left. What are you rolling in? Hey. Dog's rolling itself. Into the middle. Now we're going to do a little bit of hip rotation. You should feel that on the outside of this hip. You should feel that on right in here on this other hip. Rotate to the other side. From here we're going to do a seated hamstring stretch. We're going to pull those feet back, fold at the hips, reach, grab your feet if you can. Now we're going to point, do the same stretch. Do some ankle rotations. Toes back, toes pointed, toes in, toes out, toes back, toes pointed, toes in, toes out. We're going to do some wrist mobility. So we're going to start with, let's start with this first. Okay, so a little bit of wrist mobility. Okay, from here we're going to go back. modified, I think this is called pigeon pose. Shift it. Okay. And from here we're going to go into some tactical frog. So we're going to be in kind of a tall kneeling position, but we're going to move our knees out. Okay. And we're going to rotate back in. Okay. We're going to stretching here through the hips. Trying to get into a deep squat position. Okay, we're going to straighten that out. Rock back. Now we're going to rock this leg out. Work on that outward rotation. Yeah, that's hard. Okay. Back. Left leg out. Back. And rock foot. Okay. Woo. So with karate chops, I usually go karate chop right. We do karate chop left. And then we put one arm out and turn in the opposite direction. Left arm out, turn the opposite direction. And then I might reposition my hand, and it will be a slightly different stretch now. Those heels on the ground. Those heels on the ground. Then we're going to move into an ankle stretch. So again, one more time here, downward dog. Okay. Come up onto one foot, bend, extend, bend, extend to the other side. On the left, bend, extend, bend, extend back into downward dog. Those heels on the ground. And then we're done. All right. So on any given day, you might not do all of those. Just pick and choose. Find the ones that seem to give you the most for your money. So that's it for today. Have a good day, Maroons.